Listen carefully, because the moment you stop reaching out to a woman, she doesn't just notice it, she feels it in a way she will never admit out loud. And the uneasy truth is this: a man's silence can expose everything she was trying to hide. Her interest, her fears, her ego, even her true intentions. Most men never realize how powerful that shift is until it's too late. I'm going to talk to you as a psychologist, but also as a woman, because you deserve to understand what really happens inside her mind when your energy disappears. And trust me, it's not what the movies, your friends, or society have told you, because a woman's reactions in these moments are rarely logical. They are emotional, instinctive, and often impulsive. When a man who has been steady, consistent, or even just quietly reliable suddenly withdraws, her nervous system interprets it as a loss of control, not a loss of love, a loss of certainty. And certainty is one of the deepest addictions a woman has. The first thing she'll feel is confusion, not because she misses you, though sometimes she does, but because she needs to understand why. Women are meaning seekers. We need reasons, explanations, emotional clarity. And when that clarity disappears, it creates a psychological tension that she cannot easily ignore. She may scroll through old messages, replay old conversations, or even convince herself you're upset, busy, or seeing someone else. And every scenario she creates pushes her deeper into the emotional loop you unknowingly triggered. Then comes the second reaction: ego activation. This is the part men misunderstand most. She doesn't instantly think, "I miss him." No, the first instinct is, "Why isn't he choosing me anymore?" A woman's ego is tied to how you respond, how quickly you reply, how available you are, and how predictable your attention feels. When that pattern breaks, it hits her self-image. Suddenly, she's not the one being chased. Suddenly, she's not the one in control. And that shift forces her to confront feelings she usually avoids. The third reaction is subtle but powerful: the reevaluation phase. When you stop reaching out, she starts analyzing her options, but not in the way most men fear. She begins comparing the emotional experience with you to every other man in her orbit. How do you make her feel? Safe? Challenged? Ignored? Desired? She takes inventory, sometimes unconsciously. And if you were the man who gave her emotional stimulation, comfort, or a sense of being understood, the absence of your presence magnifies every good memory she has of you. Women don't miss you first. They feel the loss of what you provided. Your silence doesn't push her away. It reveals her. Her emotional maturity, her patterns, her insecurities, her real level of interest. And in this revelation, you learn the truth she would never willingly confess. When a man stops reaching out, a woman's emotional world doesn't just shift, it fractures into two competing impulses. One part of her wants to protect her pride, stay silent, and pretend nothing has changed. But the other part, the deeper, more instinctive part, feels pulled toward you with a force she can't rationalize. And this internal battle is where the truth finally reveals itself. At first, she'll try to convince herself she doesn't care. She'll say things in her mind like, "He's probably busy," or "It's whatever, I didn't like him that much anyway." But pay attention. Those thoughts are not signs of indifference. They're defense mechanisms. A woman only tries to numb something she actually feels. When she genuinely doesn't care, she doesn't need to explain it to herself. She just moves on. But when she keeps revisiting the situation, replaying it, rationalizing it, your silence is affecting her more than she admits. Then something interesting happens emotionally. She becomes hyper-aware of your presence, even though you're not there. She checks if you viewed her story, notices if you're active online, pays attention to the smallest changes in your behavior. And she will never admit this publicly, but the less you reach out, the more she watches you from a distance. This is where men underestimate the female mind. Women don't always chase with action. They chase with attention first. They observe. They wait. They calculate whether you're pulling away because of something she did or something you decided. But the most powerful reaction comes when she starts asking herself questions she didn't expect. Did I take him for granted? Why does his silence bother me this much? Was I too cold, too distant, too unavailable? She begins to see her own patterns, sometimes for the first time. And if she genuinely liked you, these questions hit her hard. Why? Because a woman's deepest fear isn't losing a man. It's realizing she pushed away a man who actually cared. Here's the psychological truth. Silence forces clarity. And not just for her, for both of you. But for her specifically, it exposes the emotional gap between how she acted and what she truly felt. When you were reaching out, she didn't have to confront that gap. But when you stop, she can't escape it. And this is the moment she starts reacting, even if she tries to hide it. Maybe she posts something meant for you to see. Maybe she messages you casually to test the waters. Maybe she suddenly remembers an old joke or sends a "Hey, stranger." Women rarely make bold moves first. They create openings, they send signals, and they wait to see if you respond. Your absence creates a psychological spotlight, and under that light, her true level of attachment finally shows itself. Not through words, but through the subtle ways she tries to re-enter your reality. Here's where everything becomes unmistakably clear. Because when you stop reaching out, her behavior doesn't just hint at how she feels, it exposes it with precision. A woman's emotional patterns are most visible when something disrupts her sense of certainty, and your silence creates exactly that disruption. It pulls back the curtain on who she really is when she can't predict you, can't guide the interaction, and can't rely on the comfort of your attention. One of the first shifts you'll notice is her attempt to re-establish emotional equilibrium. She may post something subtle, a quote about being unbothered, a selfie where she looks effortlessly perfect, a story that signals she's having fun without you. But here's the psychological truth. Women rarely broadcast how they feel. They broadcast how they want to be perceived. So if she suddenly wants you to think she's fine, that's the clearest indication she isn't. Those posts aren't about confidence, they're about control, trying to regain the upper hand emotionally. Then comes the testing phase. She sends small signals, not a deep message, not an emotional apology, but tiny breadcrumbs designed to see whether you still care. A reaction to your story, a random meme, a question she already knows the answer to. These micro-reaches are not accidents. They're psychological probes. She wants to know, is he really done investing in me? Did he lose interest? Or is he waiting for a sign from me? If she didn't care, she wouldn't test you at all. Women don't test men they're indifferent to. If she truly liked you, she'll experience something even deeper: emotional dissonance. On one side, her pride tells her not to reach out first. On the other, her attachment pulls her toward you. And that internal conflict builds pressure. She may vent to a friend about you. She may reread old messages, searching for clues. She may even convince herself you're talking to someone else, which intensifies the emotional urgency. A woman will fight her own ego long before she ever risks looking vulnerable to a man, and that battle is often louder inside her than anything she says outside. But here's the most revealing sign. She starts imagining what it would feel like if she actually lost you. Not just the attention, you, the connection, the conversations, the comfort, the masculine presence you brought into her life. And that imagined loss hits harder than the real one ever would. This is why silence is so powerful. It forces her to confront the emotional truth she avoided when you were always available. Your absence doesn't make her forget you. It makes her re-experience you from a distance, and often that's when your value becomes the clearest. She sees what she didn't appreciate. She feels what she didn't express. And she realizes what she might not get back. Now here's the part most men never understand. When you stop reaching out, her next move reveals everything about her emotional maturity, her intentions, and her actual level of commitment. Because at this point, she's no longer reacting to your messages. She's reacting to your absence. An absence has a way of magnifying truth. If she cared but wasn't sure how to show it, she'll shift from subtle signals to genuine effort. She might text you directly, ask how you've been, or bring up something personal only the two of you shared. This isn't weakness. It's a sign she chose to lean into vulnerability instead of hiding behind pride. That kind of woman is rare, when she realizes your silence isn't a punishment, but a boundary. She respects it. She steps forward. She communicates. She matches your energy. And that tells you everything you need to know. She didn't want to lose you. But if she only enjoyed the attention you gave her, not you as a man, her reaction will be completely different. She'll try to replace your energy, distract herself, or jump into something new just to avoid feeling the emptiness your absence created. This doesn't mean she's a bad person. It simply means she wasn't emotionally invested. She was emotionally entertained. And when a woman was only entertained, she moves on quickly. But she still notices the shift. She still wonders why you stopped. And she still checks whether you've moved on faster than she has. Her curiosity might remain, but her commitment won't. And that distinction matters. There's also a third type of reaction, the one that reveals the most. She becomes more self-aware. She reflects. She recognizes her own patterns. Maybe she realizes she was guarded. Maybe she sees she pushed you away without meaning to. Maybe she discovers that she actually valued you far more deeply than she let herself feel. These women often return with honesty, not dramatic speeches, just real clarity. I didn't show it, but I did care. And for a man, hearing that is rare, because it comes from growth, not emotion. Your silence has a purpose. It creates space, and space reveals the truth. Not the fantasy you wanted, not the fear you imagined, but the reality of how she responds when she no longer has your attention on demand. That truth is priceless. It protects your heart, your time, your effort, and your future. Because as a psychologist and as a woman, I'll tell you this. The man who knows when to stop reaching out is the man who stops wasting his life on people who were never ready for him. Your distance isn't cold, it's clarity. And clarity is what separates a man who chases from a man who chooses. Now let me ask you something personal. Has a woman ever reacted in a surprising way when you stopped reaching out? And what did she do first? Tell me in the comments. And if this spoke to you, make sure to like, subscribe, and share this with a friend who needs to hear it.